ask you something. When did everyone become an empath? Like, seriously, when did sensitivity become a personality? When did feeling things deeply become something you either are or aren't? Because if you spend 5 minutes on any social media healing space, they're everywhere. The empaths. The highly sensitive people that feel everything. The ones that absorb the energy of the room they enter. And honestly, I understand why this idea became so popular, because if you grew up in an unpredictable home, discovering the word empath felt like a relief, because finally you had a word for something you've been experiencing your entire life. Why crowded rooms felt exhausting, and why you could feel the feelings of another person without them saying a single word, and why you felt overwhelmed for the majority of the time. And that part is real, but that's not where the story ended, because the empath identity didn't stay there. It evolved. First it was I feel deeply, then it became my sensitivity is a gift, and then I can see through people. And now I'm a dark empath. Do you see the pattern? It started from an understanding, but then it became an identity. And somewhere along the way, for some people, it made them feel superior. Empathy stopped being something you experience and started being something that makes you different, more aware, more evolved, more psychologically advanced than everyone else. And here is where I started asking questions, because here is the thing. Every human has empathy unless something has gone seriously wrong. Empathy is part of being human. Some people have naturally more, some people less, some people learned how to naturally disconnect from it in order to survive, and some are highly emotionally attuned to other people. We're all different, but the empathy itself, it's not some sort of special club. So why the hell, all of a sudden, it feels like it is one? And I wonder whether we accidentally, somewhere along the way, started confusing empathy with something else. Take hypervigilance. Imagine you're growing up in a household where you're living in very unpredictable situations because you never know what kind of mood mom or dad's going to be in. So you start noticing everything, every footstep, the way the front door closes, the tiny change of their facial expression, the sight, everything. Every little thing. Your nervous system learns that noticing those tiny little things actually keeps you safe. So 20 years later, you read the room faster than anyone else. And so from the outside, it seems like a gift. And everyone says, you're so empathic. But maybe it didn't develop because you were born special, but it developed because your environment demanded it. And that's not magic, that's just adaptation. But here is where it gets interesting, because to the person experiencing it, hypervigilance can feel exactly like empathy. You notice tension before everyone else. You can tell that someone is upset without them saying a single word. And you can also almost certainly predict the conflict before it happens. And those are real experiences, and sometimes they're empathy, sometimes it's survival, and sometimes it's both. And I think that's a much more interesting conversation than just simply asking, am I an empath? Because now we arrived at something that has become quite popular recently, a dark empath. Now you're not just sensitive, you're powerful. You understand people so well that sometimes you feel that you understand them better than they understand themselves, and that you can influence them. You can see right through them. And so everything that once made you vulnerable has now become your biggest strength. And I completely understand why the story is so appealing. Because if you spend your entire life feeling that your sensitivity made you somehow weak, of course it feels comforting to believe that it was a hidden superpower all along. But I can't help but to wonder about something. If reading people is something that you're using constantly to feel that you are predicting people, to manage them, to feel that you are one emotional step ahead of them, does that make you more healed? or does it actually make you better at surviving? And that's wildly different, because what gets called dark empathy, sometimes it's surprisingly similar to hypervigilance. Constantly scanning, constantly analyzing, constantly reading every room, trying to always stay safe, and that's exhausting. Because I don't think that's freedom. That's more like survival, wearing a better outfit. And maybe that's the reason why the people that I genuinely consider the most empathetic people do rarely call themselves empaths. Because they're not trying to convince everyone else around them how deeply they feel. They are just present. They are comfortable staying. They often are the ones that say, I don't know what you're going through, I don't know how you're feeling, but I'm here with you. They don't need empathy to become an identity or a superpower, or prove that they're different. Maybe real empathy was never about feeling more than everyone else. Maybe it wasn't about seeing through people or feeling that you are exceptional. Maybe it's simply the willingness to stay with another person in their experience without making it about yourself. Because real empathy is not a category, it's not something that makes you exceptional or dangerous or more evolved than everyone else. It's just the willingness to be with another person fully without making their experience about you. And that's exactly what gets lost when the identity becomes more important than the thing it was meant to describe. Because empathy is not about seeing through people, it's just about seeing them. Thanks.